That's awesome weather up there.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're staying warm. This is Claudia Bramer. I'm going to call the meeting to order, please. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of our prior meeting?
I'll make the motion, Gary.
Thank you, Supervisor Garrity.
Second, Brad McGowan.
Thank you, Supervisor McGowan. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed or, okay, thank you, that passes. I should have asked, we have a quorum on there, right? I can't see everybody, okay. Thank you. We're gonna move right over item number 1. I asked Ms. Allen if she's okay with us bumping her a little bit so we can go right to the county attorney's items, which is item number 2 on our agenda. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it right over to our county attorney, Mary Cassane.
Right, good morning, everyone. We have our outside counsel here today to do status updates on all the litigation. I would just ask that we go into an executive session to discuss ongoing litigation.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Could I have a motion for that, Supervisor McGowan, for executive session to discuss pending litigation? Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Supervisor Garrity. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? I don't hear anything, that carries. We will now go into executive session, and my understanding is that everyone who's not on the board will be placed in a waiting room, and for those outside counsel, you'll be brought in when it is your turn to provide us an update on your case that you're handling for us. Thank you so much, everybody. Okay, Amanda, Tammy, are we okay to go?
No, we're just waiting. We're waiting for you to adjust.
Okay, everybody out there, just give us one more moment. Thanks, everybody, for your patience. Just one more moment. I'm gonna start playing elevator music. I don't think we're live yet.
I believe we are live on YouTube.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, we had a large update through our county attorney's office on the many cases that are being handled, and many attorneys, outside counsel, as well as our own attorney's office handling defense of the county, and we really appreciate all of their hard work. And I know that Supervisor Conover wanted to express some opinion about our staff and everyone in the county, so I'll give him an opportunity if he's still willing to make a comment to that regard. Supervisor Conover.
Just a general comment, really, Ryan, top to bottom, that I think that it never ceases to amaze me, the professionalism and the real quality of service that's really provided by all of our departments. It's a real credit to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Credit to the Board of Supervisors as well. It starts at the top.
Great. Thank you, yes, to all of our staff really working hard and making sure that we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's to protect the county and protect all of our residents. I think that is it. I see Mr. Dickey has stepped in for Attorney Hussain, but I think we're okay on the county attorney's items. I don't think there's anything else. Is that right, Ryan?
Yes, that's my understanding as well.
Okay, great. So I'm going to hop back up to item number 1, which is a report and items from our clerk of the board. So go ahead, Ms. Allen, please.
Item 1A, those are the resolution tracking reports for November and December. That's just giving you updates on what's been done with the resolutions approved by the board. So if anyone has any questions on that, you can just get in touch with me after the meeting. We'll clear those up. Item 1B is a request to adopt the Warren County Travel, Education, and Vehicle Use Policy. This is basically an update of the travel and vehicle use policy. After a meeting we had last week for economic growth, there were some questions about travel, and we talked about it and decided to update this policy to try and streamline the process and make it more clear for everyone. So we did change the name from travel and vehicle use to travel, education, and vehicle use. That's part of the change. The most substantial change to the whole policy is on page 3 under section B, travel approval required. This previously had a number of different sections under it, and it was somewhat confusing as to how you got approval for travel, whether it was required, committee approval was required, board resolution approval, or if you could just use a form that was signed off on by your department head, the county administrator, and your committee chair. So in an effort to try and make this more clear for everyone, what we did was take out the requirement for out-of-state travel approval by the board and then committee approval, and we are changing all just to the travel form, which will have to be approved, and this is for all travel, whether it's in-state, out-of-state, virtual, if you're actually going. It'll have to be approved by the department head, the county administrator, and the committee chair. The only caveat to that is we did leave in the approval so that if you wanted to go for NISAC travel or training, those don't require any travel or any approval. Just go to those as long as it's budgeted. Right now, NISAC is holding everything virtually. So if we went by our old policy, if we changed this so everything was under the same policy, every course you wanted to go to, we'd have to have a different form, even though it's free training. So in this way, every training opportunity can be brought in. It'll be vetted by, obviously the department head, county administrator, and the chair. before it's approved. And then it has to be reported to the committee at the next meeting so that everyone's aware that the travel has occurred or is going to in the near future. If there is an instance where there's not money available in the budget, there's a box on the form that you would check. And that will essentially stop the process there because that person or the department head is going to have to go back to their committee and get approval for the money, and that's a different process. So after you have the money in your budget, then you would be able to resume the travel approval process. So we're hoping that this will help make it clear that everyone has to follow the same process regardless of your travel. Also, another problem this will fix is when staff wanted to travel out of state, sometimes it would take 2 months before you could get a resolution to go to your travel. So this way, it'll fix that problem too. So, and the only other change I made was to change from chairman to chair throughout.
I appreciate that. Overall, it sounds like it's making things more efficient, smooth for our staff to be able to go to these events, whether they actually travel or it's a virtual travel. But we still have some checks and balances in place. They're going to have to make sure they go through the department head, except the administrator and the chair of the oversight committee. Okay. So, and this applies, there's no dollar amount. So even if it's $0, they still need to fill out the form?
Yes. Yep, we're requiring for everything.
Okay, so everything kind of helps us keep track too. And then the employee can use that for their own records as far as training, or, keeping track of that. Are there any questions about that? Does anybody have any concerns? Okay, great. Amanda, thanks for putting that together. And I hope that will work out well for our employees. And if we need to change it going forward, we'll change it again. I think it's good. Could I have a motion to approve this? I don't see a form, I don't see a resolution.
I did not put the form in, but it will need to be approved by resolution. What's in there is the draft resolution that would come to the board.
Okay, so adopting Warren County travel, education, and vehicle use policy. I need a motion to do that.
Brad McGowan.
Alan, on the motion. Do I have a second? Got to be more active on these committees, guys. I only have a few people on here.
Well, did you get me at a first or you want me as a second? I didn't hear
I
you.
did, sir, and I'll take Supervisor Conover on the second. Thank you. Anything else before we take a motion? All right. All those in favor of this, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, that carries. Thank you very much, Amanda. Anything else on your agenda, Amanda?
Nope, that's it for me.
Great, so that's it for number one. We did number two. All right. Report by Human Resources Director. Is Jackie available? I see her, yes. Okay. Ms. Figueroa, could you please give us your report?
Sure. Good morning. I have included with the agenda the final 2020 report on intent to fill tracking. So next month we will start off with a one-page 2021, much shorter version, but I wanted to kind of close out last year. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. And then immediately following that, I have an update on the terminations and exit interviews. And I would like to take this opportunity to remind department heads that we should be notified as soon as you know you have somebody departing. Sometimes we don't know until we get the final paperwork, the 426. But if you can give us the heads up, that gives us time to handle some administrative items with IT and payroll, as well as to make sure we are offering employees an exit interview on their way out the door. So I will be sending an email to follow up just to remind everybody of that procedure because it has been a couple of years, but I wanted to take this opportunity to remind everyone as well.
That's great. Thank you, Jackie.
And the last item I have is a request to amend the salary schedule, which was included in the 2021 budget to correct a clerical error that I made. I will fully admit to that. When we were making changes after department meetings, the position of administrative assistant in the public health department was approved to go from a part-time position to a full-time position. I entered the correct financial information and I forgot to remove the the little marker, PT in parentheses at the end of the title. So it is, the title and the funding don't match in the budget right now. So I just need to correct that through a formal resolution.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you Supervisor Garrity to correct this typo. Can I have a second, please?
Brad McGowan.
Supervisor McGowan, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, that carries. Thanks, Jackie. I know we've got to do it right for the treasurer's office. I appreciate you taking responsibility for that and helping us to get it cleaned up. And also, I'm looking forward to the new tracking report. I think that will be helpful. And maybe you and I can talk about the exit interview chart as well. I think we could do something, as you mentioned, I think you have an idea for how we might be able to make that a little bit more useful to the supervisors to understand trends and what is happening with our staff overall. But I've been able to do some of the exit interviews recently, and I would like to report to everyone, it sounds like, there aren't any major issues. Things are running smoothly. People are just taking some new opportunities, and that's great for our employees. We're sad to see them go, of course, but good for them from a professional standpoint as well. Becky, is there anything else?
Nope, that's all I had.
Okay, any questions for Jackie? All right. Thanks. Thank you, Jackie. Let's move on to number 4. Our IT director, Mike, are you on there?
Yes.
So please go ahead.
Morning. The first one is to get a resolution to move funds from the reserve fund for anticipated expenses for some
Okay,
computers and some other upgrades.
Supervisor Garrity moves that.
Brad McGowan.
McGowan on the second. We have it in our packet. I think. Yeah. Yep. All those in favor, please say aye. Thank you. That carries. Thank you.
And my second one is, when we did our website, we had a contract that said the vendor would create the website and also host it through 2024. However, we did the original resolution. We never accounted for the hosting, so I need to have a resolution to extend the contract so resolutions to support the contract we have so we can pay our bill this year and through 2024.
Oh, not extended time-wise. It still goes through 2024, but to add the additional hosting services.
Correct.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
No additional cost?
Yeah, we pay $6,600 a year for hosting and support, but the original resolution never accounted for that, so I don't have authorization to pay the bill.
But I mean, it's the same cost as before. It's just adding the wording?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And I
Yeah, I'll move it.
have to go to, thanks Supervisor McGowan. This is going to have to go over to finance to find the money.
The money isn't changing. The money's in his budget.
Oh,
Just the way that the resolution was written, it only approved half of what the contract was for.
okay, that's good. All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Oops,
Aye.
I think I said McGowan. Please, yeah. All those in favor, please say aye again.
Aye again.
Anybody opposed? No. Okay, that carries. Thanks, Mike. Go ahead.
And the next is to get permission to apply for a grant with New York State Homeland Security for cyber security grant they're offering of up to $50,000.
I'll move CMD.
I'll second it.
And D. Okay. And Supervisor McGowan, second C and D. I just want to take one quick moment and remind everybody that we should be asking for permission to apply for grants before we do that. But I'm really grateful that you are looking for the money, so we're going to pass that. We're going to pass this on through to the board. And can you give us a little info on D? What we're doing with D?
So there's the big ask one. So we're looking to increase the IT budget by $50,000 a year, not just this year, but every year, to purchase 2 software packages. One for monitoring all of our data on our servers, and one that monitors the physical devices on our network. Our data server, our file server, when we think about Word documents and Excel spreadsheets, all the various files, the server has 4.3 million files on there. And we're, as a county, responsible for knowing what's out there, who has access to what, and be able to trace back if there's ever an issue, and that's just something we cannot do. And so we're looking to get that in place.
Right, very important that we keep all of our data secure and that we can track it. Supervisor
Madam
McGowan?
Chair? Yes, thank you. You know, talking with Mike, and we talked about this in support services, you know, last year. This is really a phenomenal program on how it actually works amongst everything that we have in between our service and that, and it pulls out key things. It's really, it seems like a lot of money, but what it does, it really, it sounds like it's going to protect us and keep, you know, Mike right on top of his toes of everything that's going on. So it's a great software, and I think it will be a great thing for, especially with that many files that we have out there.
Right, thank you.
So thank you, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Supervisor McGowan. And I think it may help to stave off the increases in our insurance costs.
Yeah, I can share that each year we've done the cybersecurity review for the insurance policy, and the questions are getting more pointed. You know, very, are you doing this? Are you doing that? Things they weren't asking before. And when we did the grant application, they give you some controls to say, do you have this in place and that in place to help guide you to where you should use the money. And unfortunately, I had to answer no to 90% of the questions. So there's just a lot more expectations of us now than there used to be, especially over the last year with all the election things. There's just a super awareness of cybersecurity. And I've been here long enough to doing the audits. Even with the auditors, the financial auditors, questions are changing now and getting more pointed into cybersecurity questions.
Right. Well, thank you for bringing us up to speed. And that does bring me to the Board of Elections grant that we already have. Do you need any kind of resolution from the board to use that those remaining funds for this cybersecurity software?
No, it's already approved. And the way that worked out is the board was given much more money than they needed, and we didn't want to lose it. So we did our review with the State Board of Elections. We said, okay, we'll take care of everything they need. But this software that we're looking for, because even though we need to approve the money so we have it, I'm still trying to find ways to not spend it if we don't have to. And they said that, yeah, if we do something that protects the Board of Elections and incidentally protects the county, then it's an approved expense. So I brought this one out, and they should have about 20 grand left over when we're all done with everything. And the state's already approved it, that we could use it towards this expense.
That's great. Okay, and you've talked with our Board of Elections, and they're totally fine with that. So that's great. Thank you for working that out. Yep. All right, I'm going to call a question on C and D in our agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries. Thank you so much, Mike. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you very much.
Great work. Anybody have questions for Mike before we move on? Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Thank
All
you.
right. We're on to facilities. Mr. Hajos, please go ahead. I saw him on there. Maybe I don't now. He's going to lose his turn. I see his box. Kevin, are you there? Well, we can move on. We can do it without him. Request to delete the position of Superintendent of Buildings and Grounds and create and fill the position of Director of Facilities. So remember, this did come through Supervisor McGowan's committee. Kevin wanted to change the name and change the salary since a new person would be starting at not what Mr.
Ms. Chairwoman?
Yes.
Oh, Brad McGowan.
Supervisor McGowan.
Is that me echoing there? Hey, I just, Kevin brought this up and we talked about it ahead of time, and the reason he wanted to do that, since we had hired Frank, you know, many years ago, his job is involved even more, kind of in the same sense of like Brian LaForge, you know. It just over time, everything, a lot of, you know, other duties were added on. So Kevin thought it would be behoovious of us, what do you think of that one there, Mr. Moore? It would be behoovious of us to change this around and change it to Director of Facilities. So it did come to the committee, and you know, I'm just kind of speaking for Kevin since he's not there yet, unless he's on.
Yeah, I think I see him unmuted, but I think we're okay on this, and I know Trish is there too, and if she needs to jump in, she can, but I think we're okay having created the position and the job title, the description, all of that. So I'm going to I would like a motion, please, for A. Thank you, Supervisor McGowan. Second, Supervisor Gary. This is 5A.
Okay.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that carries. Great. Kevin, I saw you.
I'm here.
Yep. Do you want to talk about the next one?
I believe that the next one you're referring to is the backfill for the position of the superintendent of buildings and grounds. That would be a temporary position for Frank. Frank has agreed to come back and work until we fill the position of the new county director. It's part-time, temporary, and it's not to extend past May 1st.
Right. I wanted to make sure that is in the form, and I don't see it. So if someone can just make sure that's documented in the resolution or wherever it needs to be. Thank you. I have a motion. Did I have a second? Second from Supervisor Conover. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? Okay, that carries. Thank you, Kevin. That's all I see on your agenda. Are there any questions for Mr. Hajos? I don't see anything, so let's move on to health services. I don't think Janelle's here with us. Oh, I'm sorry. And let me say, thank you, Kevin. Bye. Go ahead, Janelle. She's unmuted, but I can't hear her. Does anyone hear her?
Well, we know what this is
Okay.
about.
Janelle, I'm sorry, we can't hear you, but just hang on. I'm going to go through it. This is temporary per diem senior account clerk. This came through committee. Can I have a motion, please? Kevin, Supervisor Garrity, second by Supervisor Conover. Thank you. Does anyone have questions? Oh, the one thing I did want to point out is this person was needed, and she has already been hired or rehired. I think she retired and she's been rehired. So this is going through the board, but it's going to be retroactive to January 26th, which was earlier this week. Any problems? Okay, great. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, that carries. Thanks, Janelle. I'm sorry we couldn't hear you. Great work. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Okay. Amy, I think I saw Amy. Yep. Okay, human services, go ahead.
Good morning. So I'm requesting to delete a full-time activities aide and create a new part-time position, part-time leisure time activities aide at an annual salary of $28,026. It's only going to be 24 hours a week, so we won't have to pay fringe, effective March 1st. And then
Supervisor Conover, the second. Supervisor
McGowan.
McGowan. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Thank you.
And then the second part of my request is to delete a part-time senior account clerk and create and fill a new position of a senior account clerk, grade 7, base pay $33,600, effective also March 1st.
I have a motion, please. Supervisor
McGowan.
second by Supervisor McGowan. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Thank you. I got you, Mr. Conover. I got you. On the yes. Do you have a question?
Oh, I did. I just wanted to briefly, if we could just have a quick update. I know we went so long without having a COVID positive at Countryside, and I just wanted to know the status, quickly, the status of the situation at Countryside.
Great question, thank you.
I honestly don't want to talk about it. It feels like the last time I talked about it, we got jinxed, but we are doing well. We have had the one exposure. All residents have had 3 rounds of testing. We're waiting for our last round to come back tomorrow, but everyone's been negative so far, and we had our first clinic, COVID vaccination clinic yesterday, and out of 32, 30 were vaccinated. And we have 27 staff that have been vaccinated so far between public health and CVS. So great numbers. And I'm hoping people are going to see, you know, everyone's done so well with their first round that they're like, okay, I'm not afraid anymore and I'm going to get the shot. So.
Yeah, Madam Chairman, if I might, I just want to say, you know, you guys, it's inexplicable, really, what a real credit it is to you and your staff and everyone, keeping everyone safe at Countryside for such a long period of time. And it's great news to hear that the vaccines being delivered there to the residents and to the staff, and really just want to extend, you know, my applause, if you will, to you and the operation at Countryside. And I'm sure the rest of the supervisors feel the same way. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Conover. Any other questions or comments from supervisors? Anything for Amy? All right, thank you so much. Keep up the good work. Keep us safe.
Thank you.
All right, Public Safety Committee, these are the items that went through Supervisor Diamond's committee this morning. And I am asking Anne Marie to present this for us. Anne Marie, go ahead, please.
Okay, so the first item is to request to delete the position of County Fire Coordinator temp and to create and fill the position of County Fire Coordinator part-time at an annual salary of $11,500 effective February 22nd, 2021. So one thing to note that we need to keep the temporary position on board until we fully train the permanent position. So that will definitely be deleted at a later date than February 22nd, 2021.
Okay, so for this letter number A, really all you want right now is a request to create and fill the position of County Fire Coordinator part-time at the 11,500.
Yes.
We're not taking the action of deleting that other position right now.
Correct.
Okay, could I have a motion to that effect, please?
Brad McGowan.
Supervisor McGowan. Anybody else on the second?
I'll second, but I have a question.
Yes, absolutely, thank you.
Why is the date February 22nd for the part-time position?
That
Sounds like that's the Monday after our county board meeting.
yes.
So we're waiting 30 days for us to act to bring somebody in. And we're going to pay somebody to stay here part-time all that time. Is that what I'm hearing?
Do you have an alternative suggestion? I mean, we're trying to bring it forward as quickly as possible. I think this is our last round of meetings, committee meetings.
Okay.
I guess we could bring them in sooner because we just did that with the position in Janelle's office and made it retroactive. I guess we could do effective date.
Well, I don't want to just to wait
I agree with you.
22 days to get somebody new on board so we can release somebody. We should have.
Let me ask the. I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm sorry.
I just thought we could do.
Chairwoman, who was just speaking? I really couldn't hear them.
It was Supervisor Garrity, and he has concerns about why the effective date is so far from now. So I would like to ask the county administrator if he can speak to a way to bump up the effective date, please.
Yeah, I appreciate where the question's coming from, and it's if we have somebody that is willing to take this position on earlier than February 22nd, we could do that via resolution. We won't adopt this resolution until the board meeting on the 19th, but we could always have an effective date that's earlier than February 19th. And you know, we can have it apply retroactively the same way we just did with the position in public health. It would be the will of the board as to whether you're willing to do that, to have something effective and then bless it after the fact. It would also be up to the individual that wants to take the position as to whether he or she would be able to do that prior to the 22nd.
Well, my only point is we've been waiting now for, I don't know, say 3 months, and if we have chosen a candidate and they're available, why not bring them in and get them trained as soon as possible? I understand procedurally we work at a snail's pace versus doing what's right. But I would think if we have somebody willing to go in, wants to learn the job, we could certainly affect the retirement of our other individuals sooner and get the new person on board learning, because I think we asked for 1 week's training for the gentleman, for the person. I thought it's like 40 hours of training, so we could get them trained and get them up to speed, and maybe we can put an exclamation point into this fire coordinator position, finally. That's my only plan. I didn't know it was going to be the 22nd.
I hadn't thought about that either, Supervisor Gary. Thank you. Anne Marie, do you have a recommendation as to having talked to the candidate as to a possible date that we could put in here that would be workable?
I would definitely want to reach out and confirm a date before I guess on one at this particular point. But I think we can definitely move it back. That's just a matter of what day would work.
All right, let's make it, I'm thinking a week from today.
Well, also too, when can the new fire coordinator start? I mean.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can make it effective today. Just go ahead and put that in, and then when they're able to start, they'll get started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great. So I don't remember who made that motion, but I'll need you to amend it to state today as the effective date.
Okay.
McGowan and Garrity, is that okay with you guys?
Yes, Bramer.
Thank you. Thanks, McGowan. Are there any concerns from Trish about this?
Oh, it's all good.
Hey, it's all good. Mr. Dickey, do you have any concerns?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. All right. We have our motion. We amended it to today's date, effective, and all those in favor of this, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great. That carries. Thank you so much for working through that. Letter B is related, but on Mr. LaFleur, we talked about this morning. Are there any questions? Okay, I'll take a motion.
I'll move it.
Supervisor Garrity, a second.
Brad McGowan.
Supervisor McGowan. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carries. C.
I'll move C because I guess it's particular. We got to do it. So I'll move C.
I think we've got to do it. Second? By
Brad McGowan.
Supervisor McGowan, thank you.
Geez, is everybody awake today or is it just me? Had too much coffee.
I don't think Jackie's on. Maybe Trish, do you have anything about the retirement effective date?
I don't know. I think Jackie's there if she has any comments.
Okay, I think everyone's okay. I don't think there are any questions. I'm going to call it unless anyone raises their hand right now. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Carries. All right. Thank you, Ms. Mason. Thank you, Trish. Sounds like we're going to be set. We'll get this person on as quickly as possible. Emery, please keep Supervisor Diamond in the loop as to when this person can start, and you can let the committee know.
Okay, will do.
Your committee. Great. Thanks.
Thanks, Anne Marie.
Thank you.
All right. Public Works Supervisor Conover. Would you like to make this motion? Yes, thank you.
I'll second it.
second by Supervisor Gary.
This was discussed.
Any discussion or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, great. Anyone opposed? Carries. All right, guys, good work. Let me see, there's no pending items. I do have a hand raised from our chairwoman. Go ahead, Supervisor Stieber.
Thank you, Chairwoman Bramer. I hate to bring things up off the floor, but this occurred this week, and I've been advised that I have to, the best practices here is for me to bring it to committee. I wanted to ask for a resolution that would allow us to assign, and let me make sure I have the words right from our county attorney's office, that would allow me to designate someone else in the instance that there is a conflict, or when it's in the best interest of the agency, obviously the county, to sign a FOIL appeal. The policy that you guys passed in 2018 does not allow for an alternate designee to sign a FOIL appeal. It doesn't speak to it. In the event there's a conflict, this week we've had our first appeal filed that was about me. And, the advice at the time based on the policy in front of us was that, our policy was our policy. So upon consulting with our county attorney's office and with the Committee for Open Government, the recommendation that came back to us was twofold. We could amend the policy, which I would suggest that in the future, as Chairwoman Bramer gets settled with personnel, we start to really talk about FOIL training, FOIL policy updates, and some of the other concerns that come up with that. But what's immediate at this point was the recommendation to ask for a resolution in the event that there is a conflict or in the best interest of the county, that I'm able to designate an individual to sign that. And the advice that we have gotten is, well, I don't need to specifically name that individual in this resolution. I do need a resolution to allow this to occur. Does that make sense? Did I get that right? I don't know.
Okay.
I'm reading directly from Mary's email.
We'd like to have it in our packet, Rachel.
Ms. Bramer, a long week, but I'm trying to immediately respond to a concern. And I think this is the right thing to do. I think it's the ethical thing to do, and our policy is not speaking to it. And of course, we need to make sure that we've looked at all alternative options. Now that the Committee for Open Government has suggested this type of a resolution, I would very much appreciate support.
I'll make the motion that we allow the chairman of the board to serve involved in the FOIL request. They appoint an alternate appeals officer. I'll make that a motion.
Great.
Who's speaking there again? I really can't hear him.
Well, I got my mask on. It's Kevin Gary.
Oh, thanks, Kevin. Usually you come across so loud, so is everything okay?
Well, I'm trying to speak through this mask.
I'm trying to make this meeting run as smoothly and quickly as possible. That was Supervisor Garrity making a motion that the chairperson of the board may delegate to another person the FOIL appeals officer status when an appeal involves the actual chairperson, so that we can avoid a conflict with that person ruling on an appeal related to their own
I'll second that.
matters.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Supervisor McGowan. All right, I will entertain discussion since this is coming up off the floor.
Chairwoman, may I make a suggestion?
So right ahead, Mr. Dickey.
I would also recommend that it would be, that person would be allowed to sign in her absence as well, not just if there's a conflict.
May I, Chairwoman, I really appreciate that advice, Assistant County Attorney Dickey. It's just at this point in time, I think it's cleaner to just address this specific concern that we now have the Committee for Open Government's opinion on, and Mary Hussein has researched. I think they're two separate issues that I cannot wait to address in the future. And also, by local law of 1968, we do have a finance chair who's also known as the vice chair. Just to be clear, that law is in effect. We've never rescinded it. The vice chair is also the finance chair, or vice versa. I know there's been lots of confusion around that, and for the record,
exact motion that we have. Mr. Dickey, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm going to ask that we do follow up with looking at our FOIL policy and making written changes and bringing that through committee in a regular way. But for just this particular thing that Mr. Garrity has on the floor, any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Great, that carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Garrity, I keep hearing.
Just some chatter in the boardroom about logistics. Nothing is going on. Okay. All right, let me get myself organized here. Pending items, we're finished with that. No one else wants to bring up any random thing off the board? Sorry, Chairman, you're good. Positions authorized for filling. Please take a look at the back of your packet and you have all of those reports. If anyone has any questions, you should talk to the chair of that committee. Any public comment, Mr. Lehman?
Good morning, Chairwoman Bramer. There is no public comment on YouTube.
Okay, thank you so much. And is there anything else to come before the committee, the personnel committee? Any privilege of the floor? All right. Once again, I want to thank Brian LaFleur for all of his hard work. And I also want to thank Janelle Jones in her office. Everyone, it's been a tough week with the sports issue. So from a personnel matter, I just want to say thank you to everybody there for their hard work. And staying strong in your decision, and this Board of Supervisors is going to continue backing you through that process. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Supervisor Garrity, Supervisor Clark. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, thank you, we're adjourned. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Claudia.